Hey there. Today I want to share something with you that's deeply personal to me, and that's my journey and story with faith. How I grew up with it, how I lost it, and how I'm learning to believe again. My hope with this video is that if you've ever felt lost, doubted yourself, or even questioned God, that perhaps my story can give you some hope. If you're new here, my name is Andrew. Welcome to the channel. So I was raised in a very conservative and very Christian household, and I was forced to go to church twice a week. And I was also enrolled in private school until high school, and it always felt like my beliefs were never really my own. I kind of just fell in line with everyone else. I very much lived in an echo chamber where all the people around me were thinking the same thing, saying the same thing, believing the same thing. So I ought to just fall in line as well. And it wasn't until high school that I eventually got the choice on whether or not I wanted to go to church. And because I was forced to go up until that point, I started resenting going to church. So I decided I didn't want to go anymore. And in fact, in high school, I was getting very addicted to video games at the time. I felt like it was giving me a lot of control and achievement, which were things I felt like I was lacking in other areas of my life. And honestly, it was taking over my life at that point. I stopped playing sports. I stopped hanging out with people as much because, we could just hang out online and game instead. And it just flooded my brain with a lot of dopamine. And actually, at the time, I started getting really into technology, and I enrolled in college courses while I was still in high school. It's a program called Running Start in Washington State, where for the last 2 years of high school, you can take college classes at the local community college. So I started studying computer science. I started to fall in love with coding, and I thought it was really fun. And I thought I could teach myself how to build video games, and that was going to be my future. So at the end of high school, I enrolled in the University of Washington in Seattle, and I moved up to Seattle. So moving to Seattle changed everything for me. I feel like it was the first time in my life I had felt like I had grown up in a bubble, and it was the first time in my life I was surrounded by people that didn't look like me, they didn't talk like me, they didn't eat the same food as me, and they didn't believe the same things that I believed. And after learning about their cultures and where they came from and what they believed and that sort of thing, it's like my eyes were opened into how big the world was and how I'd only seen the world through one lens previously. And I no longer felt like I was in a place to say that my beliefs were right and that everyone who disagreed with me was wrong. But that being said, I've always been a big fan of astronomy and biology and philosophy, and I never subscribed to the viewpoints of evolution, and I never believed that we were here by accident or that everything that exists came from a massive explosion. So while I fell away from the beliefs I had when I was a Christian and when I grew up, I always considered myself agnostic because I believed in a higher power. I believed that we were here for a purpose, but I was a bit lost and didn't really know what to believe or what to think. So I built my life around things I thought I could control. I cared deeply about getting good grades and chasing money and career success, dating, and I cared about the amount of friends I had and my social status and the strength I was making in the gym. And I realized that nearly my entire identity was built on things that could be taken away from me at only but a moment's notice. And pretty soon it was. I ended up herniating 2 discs in my neck, and this injury would end up taking a severe toll on my life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Suddenly, I couldn't work out anymore, and I was in pain every day, and I feel like I just lost control over my body. My motivation dropped off the face of the earth, and I fell very much into a victim mindset, and my performance at work tanked, and my confidence all across the board just dropped off. The Andrew, the strong, disciplined, motivated guy I thought I was, he was completely gone, and I lost track of who I was. During the middle of all this, I started a relationship I was not ready for. And it tested me greatly and opened my eyes to a very harsh truth that I would come to find out later, that I was trying to use the relationship to fill a hole that I felt inside of me instead of facing it directly. And you can already see where this is going. It fell apart and it absolutely crushed me because now I needed to face who I had become. It was one of the lowest points of my life and I felt severely depressed, and I questioned everything about who I was and what I believed, what my purpose was, and what I was even doing with my life. In the middle of that brokenness, I cried out to God. I realized I couldn't keep living life on my own terms because look at where it had gotten me. I was hurt, empty, and so lost. I took a step back and started praying again, and I heard a whisper. And slowly I felt a sense of direction and meaning and purpose in my life again. I felt like God wasn't done with me yet. So not long after, one of my friends ended up reaching out to me asking if I wanted to go to church. And looking back on this, I can really see this as a divine appointment. And shout out to Philip if you're watching the video. But everything inside me at the time was just saying yes. I felt like I really wanted to go. Please take me to church. So I ended up going, and I met a lot of great people, and it was exactly the type of people I needed to surround myself with. Other guys who were putting their faith and family and fitness and entrepreneurship first. And the message that I received when I walked in that day, I felt like was just exactly for me. It was about how evil can throw things our way in an attempt to bring us to our knees and bring us down in life. But God can use these things for good and completely backfire evil's intent. And for me, I took this as like a lot of the things that were happening in my life that was causing me to question who I was evil's attempt to bring me to my knees. But actually, God was in the process of using these things for good, and I was in the process of transcending my reality and rebuilding my life to be a life of meaning, a life of purpose, and a life of fulfillment, and a life that I truly wanted to live. I knew I needed to change, and I knew I needed to start again, so I leaned into all of it. And for the first time in a long time, I'm filled with hope and peace and fulfillment in my life again. Since then, I've been slowly rebuilding my faith. I bought a Bible, I started reading it again, I'm praying, I'm talking to God, I'm seeking His direction, I'm journaling. I'm doing everything I can to cultivate a relationship with Him in ways that I know how. Honestly, it's been incredible with the amount my mental has improved recently. Like, I feel like I'm on a mission again, and I'm finally becoming the man I see when I close my eyes and think about the future that I want to build. Like, it makes me want to cry thinking about all of it. My journey with faith has been incredible, and I can look back and see all the different ways that He's blessed me and protect me in ways I didn't deserve. Only He knows what His true plans are for my life, and by choosing to trust Him, I'm slowly starting to figure it out too. So if you're struggling with faith, or perhaps you feel like you've fallen off in your own life, I just want to remind you that it's never too late to start again, and you don't need to have it all figured out. And the truth is, no one has it all figured out. We're all learning about what it means to be human with each new day that passes. Sometimes taking one small step toward belief can change everything. All right, I really appreciate you for watching and for wanting to listen to my story. If you're still here, drop a like, comment, subscribe for the algorithm, and I'll catch you in the next one.